Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskrityam Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudirayet Nashtaprayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavata Tamashloke Bhakti Bhavati Naishtiki. Hare Krishna. We thank all for being here today, as always. We are speaking from Srimad Bhagavatam as it is, Canto 3, Chapter 4, text number 5 and 6. It's a nice combination of numbers, 3, 4, 5. Tata pita dabi pretam janan aham arindama prishtaton nuangamam bartu pada vishleshanakshamah. Synonyms. Tata api, yet in spite of. Tat abhipretam, his desire, that is Krishna's desire. Janam, knowing. Aham, I. Arimitama, O subduer of the enemy, which refers to Vidura. Prishtataha, behind. Anwagamam, followed. Bhartuhu, of the master. Pada Vishleshana, separation from his lotus feet. Akshamaha, not being able. Translation by Jagadguru Srila Prabhupada. Yet, in spite of my knowing his desire to destroy the dynasty, O Arindama, Vidur, I followed him because it was impossible for me to bear separation from the lotus feet of the master. No purport, so we go to the next verse, which is verse 6. Adraksham ekam ashinam vichin vandayitam patim shreeniketam saraswatyam kritaketam aketanam. Adraksham ekam ashinam vichin vandayitam patim shreeniketam saraswatyam kritaketam aketanam. Adraksham ekam ashinam vichin vandayitam patim shreeniketam saraswatyam kritaketam aketanam. Transliterations or synonyms. Adraksham, I saw. Ekam, alone. Ashinam, sitting. Vichin, one, deeply thinking. Dayitam, patron. Patim, master. Shreeniketam, the shelter of the goddess of fortune. Saraswatyam, on the bank of the Saraswati. Kritaketam, taking shelter. Aketanam, being situated without a shelter. Translation and purport by Jagadguru Param Guru A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Translation. Thus, following, I saw my patron and master Lord Shri Krishna sitting alone and deeply thinking. taking shelter on the bank of the river Saraswati, although he is the shelter of the goddess of fortune. Purport. Those who are in the renounced order of life often take shelter underneath a tree. The Lord was found by Uddhava in that condition of taking shelter, as do persons who have no shelter. Because he is the proprietor of everything, everywhere is his shelter, and everywhere is under his shelter. The entire material and spiritual cosmic manifestation is sustained by him, and therefore he is the shelter of everything. So there was nothing astonishing in his taking shelter in the way of the unsheltered who are in the renounced order of life. Oma Jana Chamrandasya, Jana Shalakaya, Chakshur Unmilitam Yena, Tasmai Shri Prave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Mano Vishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale, Swayam Rupakatam Ayam Datati Swapadantikam. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prashtaya Bhutale Shrimati Bhakti Tirtha Swamin Itinamine Namaste Krishna Padaya Prabhupada Shritatmane Shri Gaura Karana Shakti Bhakti Tirtha Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prashtaya Bhutale Shrimati Bhakti Vedanta Swamin Itinamine Namaste Saraswati Devi Gaurapani Pracharini Nirvishesha Shunyavada Paschatya Shatarini Vancha kalpataribhyascha kripa sindhuvya evacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavibhyo namo namaha. Namo Mahabhadaniyaya Krishna Prema Vedayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namne Gora Tuishe Namaha. Nama Brahmanya Devyago Brahmana Hitaya Cha Jagat Titya Krishna Govinda Namo Namaha. Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasati Gaura Bhakta-vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare. Thus following, I saw my patron and master Lord Shri Krishna sitting alone and deeply thinking, taking shelter on the bank of the river Saraswati, although he is the shelter of the goddess of fortune. Hare Krishna. So we're continuing our discussion about Uddhava and Vidura having their special encounter, and Matriya Rishi also. So it is described here by Uddhava where and how he met Shri Krishna, because we all know how Vidura left the palace and set off to visiting places of pilgrimage. And he went to Badarikashram, and on the banks of River Saraswati, Uddhava found Lord Krishna sitting under a tree, and he was sitting in a posture of thinking. So someone may wonder and ask, if the Supreme Lord, the Almighty Lord, the being or the spirit who is all-knowing, who is all powerful, why is he sitting at one place and thinking? Well, the simple answer is that whatever we are, whatever we have, is all because the Supreme Lord originally has them. I think, you think, where are we getting this ability from? That ability is coming from the Supreme Lord. So here we see the Supreme Lord sitting and in the posture of thinking. In the scriptures, specifically in the nectar of devotion, there are different processes that take place to make things happen. And it is said that the Lord, the Supreme Lord, has some powers. One of his power is thinking. He has a thinking power. He has a feeling power. And he has the power of willing. If the Lord wills that something happens, it happens. If the Lord desires that something happens, that particular thing happens. The Lord thinks what to do and what not to do. But his thinking, the thinking of the Supreme Lord, is different from the thinking of all other beings, whether liberated or non-liberated. Because for the living entities, the Jiva Atmas, our thinking, our feeling, our willing is completely different in the sense that when we think, when we will, when we feel, we have to go to a warehouse or a storehouse to get these things sanctioned or organized, authorized before they happen. Whereas in the case of the Supreme Lord, when the Supreme Lord desires, instantly, whatever he desires takes place. Whatever he wants happens. So when the Lord thinks of doing something, there is no obstruction to what he is planning to do. So the Lord being in this material world and being in a human-like body and behaving like a human being had this posture as if he was thinking so deeply about something. But this posture of the Supreme Lord thinking deeply about something is completely different from the way we think about things, in the sense that even though the Supreme Lord is there, he is enjoying the association of himself and his pure devotees. One name of the Supreme Lord is that he is Atmaram. He is self-satisfied. He does not have to go outside himself to become happy. In order for me to become happy, I need somebody else, or I need something else. I need to watch television. I need to watch something on my phone, on my tablet, on my laptop. I need to have somebody with me to say something or do something for me to get excited. The Supreme Lord does not require these things. There may be nobody with him. There may not be television. There may not be laptop. There may not be nothing. And still, he is happy. And so when the Supreme Lord took shelter under a tree on the banks of Saraswati River, and Uddhava met him. Uddhava is describing that when he saw his Lord and Master, his patron, it was impossible for him to be distant away from him. And this reminds me of one disciple of Sri Prabhupada. She was from Sweden. She was a very good singer. So one time, she shares this, that one time Sri Prabhupada asked her, your husband and Krishna, who do you love the most? And this devotee said she could not answer because truly she did not love her husband so much. And honestly speaking, she does not love Krishna so much. Because it is said that if one truly loves Krishna, one cannot live in this material world without Krishna. It's impossible. And therefore we see in the lives of great devotees and like in the life of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu himself, he said that just a moment disassociation with the Lord appears to be like 12 years or more. When one loves Krishna, it appears that if one does not have the association with the Lord for a fraction of a moment, you feel you've lost everything. You feel you are no more existent. So for us to live comfortably in this material world without any pain, without any agony, without any distress, means that we don't truly love Krishna. If we truly love Krishna, we'll always be looking and crying for Krishna. But we don't, because we don't really love Krishna. It is said that real love is like a tree. It's like a plant. And this plant keeps growing. It does not stop growing. Therefore, the litmus test to testing someone's love for Guru and Krishna is if the love keeps growing. Because some time ago, my Gurudev used to say that I do not want to remain the same person as I was last year, especially 31st December into the new year, into January 1st. And when Gurudev would meet us, maybe we met in the previous year and then we meet again into the next year, he would oftentimes say that I do not want to remain the same person as I was last year. I want to be better. And I used to think to myself, how much better can you get, Gurudev? You're already up there where we cannot even begin to imagine where you are at. But you keep saying, you do not want to remain where you were. You want to get better, you want to grow. So later on, I kind of have a little bit of understanding of what Gurudev was saying. That yes, true love of God keeps growing. And with this sentiment, I once almost got myself in trouble because a friend of mine who happens to be a lady obviously had mentioned about me to her husband. And of course, in a good way, I was lucky. she talked about me in a good way to her husband. So the first time she took me to her house, to visit her house, and then I met the husband. And the husband said, "Oh, Jarvis, I've heard so many good things about you, and I'm so happy to see you today in person." So, trying to play humility, I said, "Well, thank you. I'm not all that nice person. I'm trying." And then he said, "Oh, really? Then I would like to get closer to my wife." If you're not a nice person. And it got me frozen. I didn't know what to say. So I said, "Actually, no. I can get closer to you and your wife." The reason I said that is I'm trying my best, but in our tradition, we understand that whatever good we think we are, there is always room to improve. And so with that, I said what I said. But the fact remains that there is no limit to how we can become better servants of the Lord. And therefore, in the teachings of Prakshit Maharaj to his dear mother, Uttara, which is beautifully shared by Sanatana Goswami in the Brihad Bhagavatamrita, there are categories of love of Godhead that even though every one of these pure devotees love Krishna so much, but the level of love is a bit on a different platform. But the beautiful thing is that if someone is on the platform of Uddhava, he is very much satisfied within himself. And again, appreciates the love sentiment of somebody like Yashoda, Mother Yashoda, or somebody like the Gopis, or somebody like Arjuna, or the Pandavas. So when Krishna took shelter under a tree on the banks of Mata Saraswati River, he was thinking, it's time for me to leave. It's time for me to leave. And it's very interesting. We see in this material world, when a president is visiting a place, his entourage first go to the place. If a president is moving from point A to point B, before the president leaves point A to get to point B, his entourage, securities, will first get to point B to prepare the place, to make sure that everything is safe for the president to arrive or to come in. And then when they go and they feel everything is okay, they invite the president to come in. When the president gets there and they do whatever they have to do, when it's time for the president to go or go back to wherever he came from, the entourage do not leave before the president leaves. The president leaves before the entourage. So in the same way, before Krishna came into this material world, he sent all his eternal associates to take birth in this material world. And so they all took birth and prepared the place for him to take place, to take birth, so-called. So when Krishna appeared, and it was time for him to go back to the spiritual world, he had to go first before his entourage leave. And so Krishna was leaving. His entourage was still here. We should remember that Krishna built his own city called Dwaraka. This Dwaraka is spelled with DW. Sorry, DV. DVARAKA. DVARAKA. This Dwaraka is different from the present day DWARAKA. Okay. So we should pay close attention to DV and DW. DV is the actual city that was built by Krishna. And how was it built? It was built by the divine architect called Vishwakarma. Vishwakarma came on earth, and in a matter of seconds, Vishwakarma built a whole city. It is described that the city of Dwaraka was like 9 miles, if my memory serves me right. It's like 9 miles square into the ocean. And Vishwakarma did that as a fort, as a way of securing the city from those who are not wanted to visit the city. So the city of Dwaraka was inhabited by Krishna and his associates. So these associates are called the Yadavas. So when Krishna was leaving, he knew that these eternal associates are so powerful, are so strong, that if I do not get rid of them, nobody can get rid of them. And because they are so powerful, nobody can get rid of them. They may become a little spoiled, so to speak. And when they become a little spoiled, the whole society is going to suffer. What we learn from this understanding, this approach, if someone is a devotee of the Lord, he automatically becomes very powerful. When one becomes powerful and does not use this power to help people, this same power can destroy so much in this material world. And therefore, it is said that spiritual life is like the edge of a razor blade. If one uses the razor blade nicely, you shave and you appear very beautiful. If you do not use the razor blade nicely and carefully, then you're going to cause a lot of bruises and sometimes loss of life. So Krishna orchestrated everything, how he was going to live, how the eternal associates were going to live. And when Krishna does one thing, that one thing serves different, diverse purposes. There are some people who believe that Krishna is not the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Krishna says, if you believe that I'm not the Supreme Personality of Godhead, may it be so. Oftentimes, we forget that one of the opulences of Sri Krishna is that of renunciation. Krishna is not so much obsessed trying to prove to each and every one that, yes, I'm the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Everybody should bow down before me. No. If you bow down before him, it's okay for him. If you do not, it's okay for him. Because whatever we do, whatever you do, does not really add anything to his satisfaction. He's already satisfied. Nothing external, nothing outside of him gives him any happiness. And that is why the only thing that attracts Krishna is bhakti. Because apart from everything else, bhakti is the only thing that is the total makeup of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Devotion. And therefore, in all religions, the main focus, the main thing talked about or encouraged is devotion. When Uddhava saw Krishna in that way, and he knew that Krishna was going to leave, and Krishna again told him that this is what I have planned. I do not want you to see it, because when you see it, you're going to be so sad. And I do not want you to get sad. This should encourage us to understand that the Supreme Lord wouldn't consciously plan anything for his devotees, to suffer and to cause that suffering a ripple effect on the rest of other devotees. So yes, we see in our devotional lives, like in the lives of great saints, great personalities, like our own Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada. We all know how Srila Prabhupada left his body. Sometime next week, we're going to celebrate the disappearance of Srila Prabhupada. How on earth would anyone celebrate the disappearance of somebody? We say disappearance, but in the mundane sense, we say somebody died. If somebody dies, we do not celebrate it. We do not celebrate someone's death. When we do whatever, it is like we are trying to remember that particular individual. And we feel so sad that this individual is no more with us. But we say we celebrate because even though the Supreme Lord has left, or the pure devotee has left, we celebrate the teachings, the love, the pastimes they came to enact. In this material world also, sometimes you hear some people say we're going to celebrate the life of such and such individual. That is, after the individual has passed on. When people generally say that we're going to celebrate, it means that they are going to honor the activities of this particular individual who has passed on. So in the right sense, when Uddhava was thinking of how Krishna was going to live and how the Yadavas were also going to live, and he kind of understood prior to the event taking place, how the Yadavas were going to end their lives. It was so difficult. See, oftentimes when we read the scriptures, we do not read the scriptures with the heart. We only read the scriptures with our brains, you know? Because I'm sitting here trying to talk about Krishna's disappearance, the disappearance of the Yadavas. And I'm just sitting here talking out of my mind. But if I'm speaking with my mind and with my heart, the emotional feeling is going to be there. Just like you have someone that you have lived with, someone you love so much. You did everything together with this individual, and your life was actually dependent on this individual. Like you are a child or a young child, maybe in your early 20s. You're still in the university, having education. And then your father, who is taking care of you, he loves you so much, he dies. And now you are here talking about that death of your father to another person. Can you imagine the emotions you're going to be feeling? But I'm sitting here, I do not have such emotional feelings because, like I said initially, I do not have that much love for Krishna. And so when I'm talking about Krishna living, I'm just talking because I'm reading from the scriptures. But if I truly know that this is Krishna who was here with me, who was providing everything for me, without him, I couldn't do anything. I was all dependent on him. And now he's left me. Are you even going to be able to survive? But we don't do that. It's just like I always say this. When you watch the news, we have these newscasters. They give the news, they break the news. Sometimes they talk about very horrible event that has just taken place. Like there was a hurricane and it came and swept the whole city, and 3,000 people are lost. They cannot be found. All their houses are gone, and the little children are left. They're looking for their parents. They can't. It's so sad. So as a newscaster, the very moment you're speaking that, you see, if you look at their faces, there is some emotions attached. But in a second, in a flash of a second, another topic comes across. They're talking about politics. Oh, this person said this funny thing. And all of a sudden, the mood changes because they are speaking from what has been given them to tell the world. They do not truly feel it in their heart. And even if they feel it in their heart, the system is such that they brush it off immediately to continue with something else. But if one who has truly lost his or her parents from such a hurricane, he's lost his residence, he's lost his family, and he sees that news on the television, he does not remember the next topic being discussed. All his attention is focused on what he's lost. So this is the mood of Uddhava. No matter what he is thinking about, no matter where he is going, all his thought is that of Krishna. Where is my Krishna? I cannot live without Krishna. And so here, Uddhava is saying that even though he knows that he cannot live without Krishna, but he had to move on because his master wanted him to move on. And Krishna also did not want Uddhava to witness the disaster that was impending for the Yadavas. This should remind us as devotees that we should not be interested in seeing other devotees going through suffering. If we should not be interested in seeing other devotees going through suffering, how then would a devotee cause anxiety to another devotee or to another individual? So this is the specialty of a devotee. A devotee will do anything and everything to relieve the suffering of others. And that is why it is said that the mercy of the pure devotee of the Lord is even much greater than the mercy or the compassion of the Supreme Lord himself. Because the Supreme Lord, he has set things in motion. If you do this, this is what you're going to get. He's made laws. He's made laws, and the laws are working. And so it's just like a president ruling a country. The laws are there. If you smoke a joint, if you smoke weed, you should be arrested. You smoke weed, you get arrested. That is it. That is Krishna. Krishna has made the laws. If you do this, this is what you're going to receive, corresponding to whatever you did. But a pure devotee of the Lord is like that of that merciful judge. He knows that, yes, you smoked weed, you are not supposed to smoke weed. You did, but I look at you and I realize that you're just a very nice person. You don't have very bad character, but because of peer pressure, you did this. So, on the power invested in me as a judge, I am going to give you another chance. I'm going to free you. Go out, don't do this thing again. The judge will do that. Once in a blue moon, the president may give amnesty to free those who committed crime, who are in jail, to come out of jail. Once in a while, the president does that. But it is not as common as a judge giving second chances to criminals. So pure devotees, or devotees in general, are such that they understand that whatever someone is going through, whatever suffering somebody is going through, they deserve it. It is their karma they are facing. But even though this is their karma and they deserve to suffer, I'm going to help relieve them of their suffering. And then the devotees goes in and tries to help this particular individual. So we see in life, especially in the pastimes of Lord Chaitanya, and my Gurudev, His Learned Spectator Swami Maharaj, was in that same mood of Vasudev Datta. Vasudev Datta was an eternal associate of the Lord. And when he saw how Lord Chaitanya had appeared, Lord Chaitanya appears once in the day of Lord Brahma. Once in the day of Lord Brahma is 4,320,000,000 human years. And out of this so much years, Lord Chaitanya appears one time. And this magnanimous incarnation of the Lord Chaitanya has appeared. He's here. He's freely giving people, souls, the opportunity to go back to Godhead. Yet, there are so many rascals who are not coming forward. They're not coming forward for this mercy. And so, Vasudev Datta says to the Supreme Lord Chaitanya, he says, Lord Chaitanya, please, I am pleading with you. Free all these ignorant, foolish souls who are not coming to have this liberation. Free them. May all their suffering be visited on my head. Let me go to hell. And let them go back home, back to God. And my Gurudev prayed the same way. That Srila Prabhupada, that Krishna free all the sufferings of the devotees and make him suffer on behalf of all the devotees. I cannot speak that way, I cannot even speak that way for my immediate family. Or to speak of the entire devotees, or to speak of the entire people of the world, the entire souls in the universe. But this is to show the nature and the qualities of pure devotees of the Lord, or devotees in general. As devotees, our main goal is to try to see how best we can relieve people of their suffering. And so many people, if not everyone, is suffering in this material world. Gurudev Vishwanath Maharaj told us so many years ago that in the years ahead, the most dangerous disease that is going to aggravate the entire world is that of mental disease. So many people are going to be living with people, yet they're going to be living without people. And we see in today's world, you may see 2, 3 people, young men walking down the street, 3 men walking down the street. No one talks to each other. Everyone is having their head bent down, looking on their phone. There is somebody next to him, but he won't talk to that particular person. He's talking to some unseen, invisible somebody, far, far, far distant away from him. This is the insanity we go through now. And therefore, so many people are dying of stress and distress. So many. Depression is on the increase. So many people are depressed because people these days live in houses, but as normal human beings, we do not want to live in houses. We want to live in homes. A home is a place where you can go and then have peace of mind. But like the Srimad Bhagavatam says, Kapila, Lord Kapila, taught this wisdom to his beloved mother, Mother Devavati. He says, in this Kali age, in the Kali age, so many people will have access to anything and everything, yet they will be isolated. Excuse me. They will be very miserable. So many people are committing suicide because they feel lonely. Because as human beings, we are not designed to be lonely. Even those who practice yoga, and you find them like in the Himalayas, yes, in the Himalayas, you think they are there by themselves, they are alone. Yes, they appear to be there alone, but they are not alone. They are there with higher beings. And these higher beings visit the place wherever they're having their meditation. And this association of these higher beings give these yogis perfect joy and satisfaction. So when Krishna was taking shelter at under the tree on the banks of River Saraswati, Srila Prabhupada explains in the paper that no one should be worried or disturbed or be questioning, why is Krishna taking shelter under a tree and appears to be thinking? Everything takes shelter under Krishna. And Krishna, even though everyone takes shelter under him, sometimes also prefers to take shelter under his own devotees. Just as Krishna is feared by the fear personality, yet this same Krishna who is feared by fear personality, everybody has fear. Whether you are a child, you are an elderly, whether you're sick, you are healthy, you're rich, you're poor, you're fool, you're intelligent. Everyone has fears. But the fear personality, the personality of fear, is himself afraid of Krishna. Yet this Krishna, who is feared by fear personality, is afraid of Mother Yashoda. Mother Yashoda told Krishna, if you do not stop what you're doing, I'm going to spank you. And Krishna is shivering out of fear that his mother is going to give him some good spanking. Lord Chaitanya, who is the Supreme Lord himself, was also being controlled by his own father, Jagannath Mishra. And in fact, some people were telling Jagannath Mishra, hey, Baba, don't be doing that to your son. Your son is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Just my son can be the Supreme Personality of Godhead. My son can be Narayan. My son can be whoever. He is my son. And I'm going to train him as such. And the Supreme Lord becomes happy because it is all done out of love. We see, even in this material world, a husband and wife, the husband sometimes smacks the wife, and the wife becomes very happy. Why? Because the husband did not do the smacking out of spite. The husband did that as an expression of love. And because it was an expression of love, the wife becomes happy. That same smacking, another time, if it is not made out of love, the husband will find himself in the hands of the law. So the foundation and the basis is love. Because Mother Yashoda has so much love for Krishna. Krishna is not afraid to be afraid of Mother Yashoda. And that is why Krishna does not give devotion, bhakti, so easily to any individual, because once you have devotion, Krishna becomes your property. And Krishna does not want to become the property of any rascal. So until one becomes a sane individual, you're not going to have bhakti. And that is why Srila Prabhupada told us that this Varnashram system has to be established. Because the Varnashram system is the system that is going to gradually train people in general to come to the level of love of God and to love God. If there is no such training, bhakti is going to be very difficult to come by. So, Sri Krishna, even though he is the shelter of each and everyone in all the universes, both the material and the spiritual world, he sometimes, out of love, loves to take shelter under his own devotees. Just as it is said, Mother Ganga becomes so happy when someone fetches her own water and offers it back to her. It's her own water. Why would she get so excited when it is taken and then taken out of her and given it back to her? Why should that cause her to become so happy? She is happy because there is an expression of love. So love is the essence. And if we truly have love, it keeps it growing. That is the symptom, like I said initially. So when we all join devotional service, we had some love. It does not have to become stagnant. And in fact, our Guru Dev used to say that in spiritual life, there is no stagnation. You either go up or you sink down. But it will be to our advantage to try to climb up and expand and go deeper into loving Guru and Krishna. And the beginning point of loving Guru and Krishna is loving devotees and loving the creature of the Lord. Everything created by the Supreme Lord ought to be appreciated, loved, and served. If we do that, then gradually we'll begin to appreciate and serve the devotees. We'll begin to appreciate and serve the pure devotees. We begin to serve the spiritual master. And by doing all these things, the devas who are looking down on us and seeing how we are trying to serve the Supreme Lord also come to our aid to help and support us to serve Krishna and possibly go back to Godhead. Because the demigods also benefit when they help us to serve Krishna. And so when we do not do things to make the demigods support us to serve Krishna, the demigods will not become happy because we're not creating the opportunity for them to be appreciated by the Supreme Lord in a way that they are also rendering their devotional service to Krishna. So may we all try to take shelter at the lotus feet of the spiritual master and of Krishna. And once we do that, we leave the rest to him. It is said like, here I am as weak and useless as I am. When I'm walking down with my little boy and my little boy gets attacked, my little boy looks up to me. He believes that I'm going to be there to protect him. Whether I can or I cannot, he knows that I'm superior to him, I'm going to protect him. And throughout the scriptures, we've never come across any time, anywhere that the Supreme Lord was defeated. There are a few times that the Supreme Lord was defeated. And the Supreme Lord, each time he was defeated, was out of his love, causing his pure devotees to conquer him. And the Supreme Lord loves to be conquered by his pure devotees. But if someone is inimical, if someone is an enemy, it's impossible to defeat the Lord. And therefore, if we take shelter at the lotus feet of the Lord, we know that nothing can overcome us. Nothing can overcome us. So this is the opportunity we all have that Srila Prabhupada has so kindly given to us. And let us seize this opportunity and do our littlest best to try to serve our Guru and the teachings, the principles that Srila Prabhupada has given us. If we follow the teachings and the principles, our going back to Godhead is assured. So with that, I would like to end here and see if the devotees may have questions, comments, realizations that they want to share. His Holiness Bhakti Charodeshna Maharaj was supposed to speak today, but of course he is a sannyasi, and sannyasis have no place, they keep moving. So he's traveling, and he is engaged in a different sangha, different engagement, which conflicts with our time, so he could not be here. And here I am, trying to share my little understanding to these two texts. So please, my apologies for my immaturity, but this is what I can give. You cannot give what you do not have. So this is all I have. Hare Krishna. Hare Hare Bol. So thank you. I'm seeing my brother here, Advaita Acharya Prabhu. Hare Krishna. Thank you so much. Yes, it's true. We don't read the scriptures with a loving heart. If we did, we'll be crying all the time. We'll be crying all the time. But we'll see, slowly, gradually, the Supreme Lord may melt our hearts, and we'll be able to enjoy and relish Krishna consciousness. Hare Krishna. Well, it seems the devotees are already formed. They have no questions, they have no comments. So with that, I think we may, Mother Shri Shopanisha, Hare Krishna, please you may unmute. Hare Krishna, thank you for being here, Mother Shri Shopanisha. Hare Krishna.
Jai, Hare Krishna.
Hare
Please
Krishna.
accept my pranams. All glories to Srila Prabhupada, all glories to Bhakti Tirtha Swami, Srila
Jai.
Krishna Pad. Hari
Jai.
Hari Bo.
Hare
Jai
Krishna.
Prabhu. I just wanted to shout out and say Hare Krishna. It's always so nice and wonderful to hear and absorb your wonderful realizations. Thank you very much. You brought something to the attention. You said when we're reading, we always, not always, we're reading with our mind, you know, and not with our heart. That is so true. We're like we're looking at it from the outside the picture, and if we would read with our heart, then we become more apart and we get a better understanding. I'm thinking of what Srila Prabhupada, what the acharyas are trying to bring to our attention, or feel, because it's about feeling. It's an emotional experience. So thank you very much for bringing that to my attention. I like that, you know. That brings to my attention something else I was reading about Abhiyam. He was a cowherd boy, and I didn't know he was a cowherd. He was one of the top 10, you know, of cowherds, I guess, you know, boys. But anyway, as Abhiram, he would, when he would come into the scene or into anyone's, when he approached anyone, if they weren't about love of God or praising or devotional, when he made obeisance to them, if they weren't, you know, of the same caliber, they would die. And I said, oh my God, you know, what a reaction to have, you know. But what I was thinking, Lord Nityananda, he was trying to avoid him from meeting his son, right? And I was thinking, why would the Lord be concerned about that? Because he's, you know, he's God, you know, he represents pure devotional service. And but since he's interacting in the material energy, I said, yeah, that's like putting your heart into it, right? And understanding that about it. So he wasn't so concerned and worried about Abhiram, you know, coming and making obeisances to his son, because his son was without fault. So they tried to avoid him from coming to see Nityananda. So the boatsmen did everything they could to keep him from crossing the river. And I thought that was really funny because Abhiram's pure of heart, right? You know, he's not thinking about anything negative. His mind is always thinking of something positive, you know. How do you do that all the time, right? So he just put his cloth or cotton over the water and he just floated across. He didn't even need a boat. Matter of fact, the boatsman sunk the boat to keep him from getting in the boat. So I'm just saying that to say what pure devotion is all about. Look at that love. Look at the love, you know? Hari Bo, Hari Krishna. I just wanted to share that.
Yeah, thank you so much for sharing that. That is one personality I admire so much, Abhiram Thakur.
Yes.
Actually, like you already said, Abhiram Thakur is a cowherd boy, and he was with Krishna when Krishna adventured himself in the Vrindavan Leela. So they had gone on pasturing one day, and they went very deep into the pasturing area, and Krishna and the rest of the devotees left him there. So he could not trace his way back. And he was left in the forest. And he was left in a cave for all those years until Lord Chaitanya's advent. So that is like 4,500 years later. So when the Lord Chaitanya Nityananda advented, then Lord Nityananda said, "Oh, there is one of our devotees. We left in Vrindavan. Let's go get him." And so they went and then got Abhiram. When they went and got Abhiram, it's very interesting because Abhiram was really mad at Krishna. Was very mad at Lord Chaitanya Nityananda. He said, "You abandoned me in the cave for all this time. You never came back looking for me." So, of course, the stature of the beings during those times were different from the stature of people during Lord Chaitanya's time. So Lord Nityananda said, no. You cannot remain in this stature. Nobody will even want to get around you. So Lord Nityananda made him shrink his size to the normal size of the people at that time. And it's very interesting that he was like a disciple of Lord Nityananda, yet he killed all Nityananda's children. Because when he pays obeisance to you, if you are not very pure, you die. If he pays obeisance to any rock, any stone that is not Shalagram Shiva, the stone will crack into pieces.
Right.
So when people see him, they take to their heels, they run away. The beautiful side to it is that he also had a very special whip. If he whips you with that particular whip, you attain love of God at instantly. So we pray that we may have Abhiram Thakur come in our lives and whip us with his transcendental whip and give us instant love of Godhead.
Haribol.
Thank you so much for bringing in Abhiram Thakur. I love him so much. I love his message.
Jai Prabhu. Hare Krishna. Jai.
Anadini Nanam Prabhu, please you may unmute. Hare Krishna.
Jai SAHADEVA Prabhu. Hare Krishna. Dandava Pranam.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhuji. Yes, Anadini Nanam, we lost you. We lost your voice.
Okay. Audible now.
Yes.
Okay. In your delivery, you made mention that the present day Dwaraka is spelled DW, not DV. In my letter, when you were speaking, I was thinking that the olden day Dwaraka, because I'm
you're breaking up.
thinking that if not until Aribo?
Yeah, go ahead. Now we can hear you.
Okay. I don't know if I should start afresh because I don't know my net.
Yeah, I heard you talking about DV and DW for Dwaraka. Yes. The Dwaraka. Yes. I got you. Yeah, I got you from the chat room. The Dwaraka with Z is what was built by Vishwakarma. And that city is the one that is submerged in the ocean, which scientists have actually discovered artifacts to prove to the fact that there was once a city there with lots of amazing civilization. Today's Dwaraka, that anybody can take plane and train to visit, is not the same Dwaraka that Krishna built, because what Krishna built is no more in existence, is submerged. And usually, the Dwaraka of today is spelled with DW, whereas Krishna is spelled with DV. See, in Sanskrit, V is sometimes pronounced as W. Like Advaita, we have our, yes, very good example. We have our big brother here, Advaita Acharya Prabhu. His name is Advaita, and it's spelled with ADV, not ADW. I remember one time we made a mistake when we were spelling the name of Advaita Krishna Prabhu. Advaita was spelled with ADW, and he corrected us because it makes a lot of difference. We may not know, we may not understand, but it makes a lot of difference. So D-W-A-R-A-K-A, Dwaraka, is Krishna's, which is submerged. D-W-A-R-A-K is what is still existing now, that people can take plane from different places, different train to go to this place. But Krishna's city, which was built by Vishwakarma, that city cannot be destroyed by any human being. So the Supreme Lord himself decided to get rid of it by causing the ocean to cover it and get it submerged. I don't know if that helps, or if that was the question you were trying to ask.
Yes, Sahadeva Prabhu, yes. Even though I've not finished asking my question, but you got it right. But I was going to think that even if that should remain, that should have served as a historical monument. If not until this recent research by the scientists, much people will not know of this olden Dwaraka that we are talking about. So in my little mind, that was what I was thinking of. So,
well, it's nice. That is your little mind, but Krishna has a bigger mind.
yes, that Krishna, is it. Yes.
Krishna decided that, well, this is my city. It is meant for a certain class of people. We do not have such class of people. So how are they going to be able to live in this place? So just as Krishna felt that if he does not swipe away the Yadavas, it's going to cause a problem to Mother Earth. He made sure that he took them out. So in the same way, Krishna felt that his city is so pure that it cannot be touched by these mundane people like me and many others. So he decided to cover it up. But he also did that for so many reasons, because now with the discovery by these scientists, they are attesting to the fact that, yes, it is true that there was a city at that particular spot. And with the artifacts they are discovering indicates that there was a very wonderful civilization during that time. And with the science, they can pick an artifact and be able to study whatever artifact it was or it is, and be able to tell how long it's been. So they've been able to do that. Even the Lanka Bridge that Shriram built, even though it's not there, but it's also been discovered by scientists that yes, there was a bridge there. There is a stone, it's a full stone, a stone. Everybody knows that stones do not float, but these stones can float because they are part of the stones that Lord Ram and the Monkey family used to build the bridge from India to Sri Lanka, Ceylon. So scientists are affirming what we are already given in the scriptures. Sometimes some of us do not believe what we even read in our scriptures until scientists come to affirm what we are reading. And we say, yeah. But we see, like in the life of Srila Prabhupada, there may be so many things Srila Prabhupada himself may not have personally experienced, but once he reads from the scriptures, he speaks with authority and a full conviction that yes, it's there. You haven't seen it, does not mean that it's not there. We know a bird flies from a tree and then rests on another tree. Srila Prabhupada explains that in the scriptures, there is a description of a bird that uses planets as its tree. So this bird will fly from one planet to another planet, and then it will rest there for a while and then move to another planet. That is how it's designed. There is one particular bird, I don't remember the name, but we have that bird here on Earth. If it flaps its wings once, before it flaps it again the second time, it would have been about 10 miles away. That is how far and how fast this bird can fly. See, so Lord Brahma's creation is amazing. We only know few. So Krishna has his own plan, and his plans are always superior to ours. Anyone else? Advaita Krishna Prabhu is here. We'll be hearing from him very soon. Bhakta Hassan, Hare Krishna. Hare Haribol. Please, you may unmute.
Hare Krishna, Your Grace.
Hare Krishna.
Please kindly accept my respectful obeisances. All glory to Gurudev, all glory to Srila Prabhupada, and all glory to their wonderful devotees. Your Grace, my question is, when it says that Krishna come and help his pure devotees and cheat non-devotees, what does that mean? Can you explain it? Can you throw more light on that, please, Your Grace? I just want to understand how that really means. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. We read some few weeks ago. I can't remember the text, but we read here, right here, where Lord Krishna says that he gives the intelligence. If someone wants to be an atheist, the Supreme Lord will give that individual the intelligence to argue and defend why there is no God. It's the same Krishna who is giving that atheist the intelligence to make such arguments. This is the renunciation part of Krishna. If you do not want to worship me, all right, don't. If you want to worship me, all right, I'm going to help you. If you don't want to, all right, I'll leave you alone to do whatever you want. And so when Krishna comes into this material world, the main reason, there are, like I was saying, is that when Krishna does one thing, it sets so many purposes. But there is the original purpose that Krishna did whatever he did. So the real purpose for which Krishna comes into this material world is to just come here and give joy, satisfaction, just to come and please his pure devotees. Because the pure devotees of the Lord love to relate with Krishna. There is nothing wrong in relating to Krishna or relating with Krishna in his impersonal form. But pure devotees of the Lord, like Arjuna asked Krishna, I know you have revealed your universal form to me. You are this, you are that, you are this. Now I'm confused. If I have to meditate, which one should I meditate on? How should I meditate? And the Supreme Lord said, the best way to meditate on me is me in this 200 form, not even in the 400 form. And so when Krishna comes into this material world, he comes to give pleasure to his pure devotees. And at the same time, he cheats the demons. He cheats the demons in the sense that he enhances their stupidity, because they see the Supreme Lord and they begin to say that, look at him. It's just like Krishna. Some people say, how can you say Krishna is God? Because he was shot with an arrow and he died. And his body is here. Oh, thank you, Madhashni Shapanisha. Yeah, Bhagavad Gita 10:4-5. Yeah, so some people say that Krishna died and left his body here. And Krishna actually did that. It appeared that his body was left here, but actually that was not his body. His body was transcendental. It cannot be, we've read it from Bhagavad Gita chapter 2, the nature of the soul. The soul cannot be withered, cannot be moistened, it cannot be cut into pieces, cannot be burned. And Krishna is the supreme soul. So what can affect him? But because some people thought him to be an ordinary soul, he displayed that for their satisfaction also. He did that. So in this way, they get cheated. They do not accept the position of the Supreme Lord. But those who are pure devotees, they become so elated, so happy that, oh, my Lord is amazing. Even though he has his transcendental form, he went back home, back to Godhead, in this same body, but he made this illusory appearance of his body here for this mundane atheistic people to continue swimming in their ignorance that Krishna is not the supreme personality of Godhead. So yes, when Krishna comes here, he comes here to please his pure devotees. But alongside pleasing the pure devotees, also come with those who are not devotees of the Lord getting cheated because they do not see the Supreme Lord as he is. I don't know if that helps. Just like the Supreme Lord appeared to
yes.
To Bali Maharaj, he appeared to him like a dwarf. And Bali Maharaj, when Vamana Dev asked for 3 steps, Bali, being demon and proud, but at the same time charitable, says, "You are such a very handsome young boy, Brahman." See, this is the difference between those days demons. Those days demons, even when they saw Brahmins, they respected Brahmins. These days, we don't have demons. We don't have demons. We only have foolish people. They don't even know the value of a Brahmin. So Bali Maharaj said, "You're such a very handsome young Brahmin, and you need 3 steps. Look at your feet, very little. Ask for more, something more." Vamana said, "It's okay. Just 3 steps is all I need." He took 1 step, 2 steps, nowhere else left for Bali Maharaj. So Bali Maharaj got cheated. His spiritual master told him, "This is Vishnu. It's a master trickster." He said, "No." Well, Advaita Prabhu is asking, wouldn't it be better to educate them than cheat them? Yes. Krishna does not, very good question, Advaita Prabhu. Like I said, Krishna does not come here to cheat. He comes here to give pleasure to his pure devotees. But alongside the pleasure also comes with those who are ignorant, who are inimical, who are envious of the position of Krishna and not accepting his superiority, his personality and his position. They get cheated. They get cheated not because God or Krishna wants to cheat them per se, but from their own ignorance, they drink the poison of this being inimical towards Krishna. But sometimes Krishna cheats. When Krishna cheats, he only does that with his pure devotees, like I was talking about Bali Maharaj. Bali Maharaj, even though is from the Yaksha family, which is like a demonic family, but he was a pure devotee of the Lord. Just like Vibhishan. Vibhishan was a brother of Kamsa. They were all demons, but he was a pure devotee of Sri Ram. So someone may be born in a family that is deemed to be demons. Does not mean that that particular individual is a demon. Prahlad Maharaj is born in the family of demons. His father is Hiranyakashipu. And one of the prominent wives of Hiranyakashipu was Rohini, which is different from the Rohini, the mother of Sri Balaram. But because Prahlad was born to Hiranyakashipu, a demon, Prahlad Maharaj is described as coming from a Yaksha family. But he's one of the Mahabhagavats. Okay. So Krishna does not come on earth to cheat these people who are already cheated. The external energy of the Lord has already cheated all of us in this material world. So Krishna himself does not have to do anything with us. We are already suffering. But we, like you said, we're cheating ourselves. And so we cause problems for ourselves. But those who are pure devotees of the Lord comes and then have pastimes with them and gives them this bliss and pleasure. In fact, it is said that by Uddhava, actually Uddhava himself said it, says, once you've beheld the form of the Supreme Lord, Shri Krishna, that vision can never disappear from you ever. If you've ever seen Krishna, you can never forget him. And so when Krishna revealed himself to Narada Muni, and Narada Muni felt so much in love with Krishna. This form is so beautiful. And he wanted to behold this vision more and more. This form, Krishna says, you're not going to see me ever again in this lifetime. I want you to do much more. When you become very mature, then you will see me again. See, it is described when Krishna was traveling from Vrindavan to Dwaraka. These maidens, even though they've all seen Krishna so many times, but when they saw Krishna, it's like they had never seen him before. So beautiful. You see, I am married, I have my wife, I see her, she may dress this way, dress that way. When I see her, she's the same person. But when the gopis see Krishna, he's different. The way they saw him even a few minutes ago, he looks different. It's like they've never seen him ever. That is the beauty of Krishna. It keeps growing to no limit. And that is why it is said that Srimati Radharani never prepares the same preparation for Krishna again. Like if Srimati Radharani prepares gulab jamun today, tomorrow Krishna is not going to eat gulab jamun, even though it will appear like gulab jamun, but it's a different taste. It's unimaginable, it's impossible for our mind to show it as it is. But the bottom line is that Krishna is so amazing that everything about him is limitless. And that is why those who have love of God, it keeps increasing because you see him today, you appreciate him so much. He does something today, you appreciate him so much. You see him tomorrow, and it's more than the way it was yesterday. And that is why you feel like you've never seen Krishna before. We pray and hope that one day we will get there. Well, thank you so much, devotees, for being here and giving us the opportunity to talk about Krishna and his spiritual devotees.
Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
Before we go, the story you narrated about Aru chased Krishna and he died or he left the body out of that. There is this pastor friend of mine whom together with Shiva Vanachari, we are in the same WhatsApp group. And it's like we often have some kind of dialogue. So at the point, he read the same thing online. So from that point, this pastor friend of ours, in fact, refuted the argument that Krishna is not God. Shiva Vanachari Maharaj tried his best, but he couldn't accept it. So how can we, I don't know, how can we convince this pastor friend of ours? By just reading that online. Well, how can you go about this? Yes.
The word convincing is a very tricky word to use.
Okay, so how can we go about this? Yes.
Yeah.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, I understand what you mean, but someone can only be convinced if one chooses to be convinced. The person speaking cannot convince. The person hearing is who can get convinced. So, like I said, Krishna has said in Gita that from him comes remembrance, knowledge, and forgetfulness. So if someone wants to forget about Krishna, Krishna will help that individual to forget about it. If someone wants to know Krishna, Krishna will help that individual to know him. Now, this person is finding it difficult to accept the Godhead of Krishna simply because he has not systematically studied Srimad Bhagavatam. If one studies Srimad Bhagavatam systematically, chronologically, that is why it is, because when we talk about Krishna leaving the planet, it is the last part of his Leela. One, in order to understand the last end of the Leela, one will have to first try to understand the beginning and the middle aspect of the Supreme Lord of the Leela. If one begins to read Bhagavatam from Canto 1 all the way to Canto 10, to Canto 12, Canto 11, coming to where Krishna left the planet and then caused the Yadavas to leave the planet, there is no way one wouldn't accept that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Because one will come to understand that all these things were deliberately orchestrated by the Lord himself. He designed it, not someone else designing it. Now, I have said this a couple times before. Lots of religions do not believe or do not accept the science of palmistry. And there is a reason why they do not accept, because if they do accept the science of palmistry, there is no way they cannot accept or they can deny that Krishna is not the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Because in the scriptures, the symbols in the hands of God are described. Right there in the scriptures. We all have hands, we have palms, and there are lines in our palms, and there are designs in our palms. Nobody can do those designs in our palms. Naturally, they are there. So when Krishna appears in this world, all those signs are right there in his palm and the sole of his feet. So if you see those signs, how can you deny that this is not God? And based on his activities, how can you deny that he's not God? At a tender age, he lifted the whole Govardhan hill on his pinky finger for 7 days, 7 nights. Lord Brahma and so many different Brahmas with so many different heads, they all came and paid obeisances to him. Said, you are our Lord. How can you deny that this is not God? So the best thing to try to help this particular individual is that, brother, sister, it's not so easy to understand God. You have to start from the beginning of A, B, C, and 1, 2, 3. And A, B, C means you start studying Bhagavad Gita. If you study Bhagavad Gita and you understand how Krishna revealed himself to Arjuna and how Arjuna surrendered to Krishna and how so many great sages, personalities have all confirmed that Krishna is the supreme personality of Godhead, is the cause of all causes. He has no other cause. And then you read or study Srimad Bhagavatam. There is no way that one can say that Krishna is not God, no matter what Krishna does. There are so many people, they do not even say because Krishna left his body, he's not Krishna, he's not God. They say, how can God have so many wives? 16,108. But they should also answer themselves, who can have such number of wives and have 11 children with each of them? And the 11 children, they all had 2 boys, 1 girl. No difference. It's not like this one had 10 boys and 1 girl, and the other one had 9 boys and 2 girls. They all had 10 boys, 1 girl, all of them. And they all had their palaces. And they were all fully satisfied. And Krishna was with all of them at the same time. So, like I said, conviction is a very tricky word because you, the speaker, you cannot convince anybody. The hearer is the one who will decide whether he or she gets convinced or not. But I would suggest that you encourage this particular person to start studying Bhagavad Gita and gradually transcend to Srimad Bhagavatam. It will take them a while, but by Guru Krishna's grace, if he has the desire to know who, not what, who God is, Krishna will help him understand that, okay, here I am. You want to see me? Here I am. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Prabhuji. And I think with that, we're going to say Hare Krishna. We're going to humbly request all the devotees to kindly unmute. Oh, but Hassan, please go ahead.
Hare Krishna, Your Grace. Please
Hare
forgive
Krishna.
me. I am on the highway, so sometimes, yes. Thank you so much, Your Grace, for the answer. And thank you, His Grace, Anadina Prabhu, for your question. Your Grace, my follow-up question is about what I asked first. Because I'm asking this question because I'm a little bit of confused. If you look at the Bible, Krishna give Bible to Christians, and he give commandments which if you do, you will come to him. And there's some part of Bible which Krishna promises that if you follow these instructions, you will come to me. The same thing in Quran. In Quran, even they have different kind of heavens, which is Jannah. And if you say Jannah al-Firdaus is paradise. Even when they are going to the war, in the Quran, Krishna promised them that anybody who die in that war is promised paradise. So, Your Grace, in Quran, it is also said that if you don't understand anything, you have to consult Ahl Kitab. Ahl Kitab means the first book. When I was a Muslim, I think Ahl Kitab, the first book, is Bible. So when I come to Krishna consciousness, then I understand that what Quran was referring to is Vedas or Gita. So my question is, why is it that Krishna promises a lot of things in Quran that if you do this, if you do that, you will go to paradise? But if we will look into well, Krishna consciousness, a lot of things which Krishna instructed Muslims to do is even against his will, even like killing animals and other things they do, you know. So my question is it part of the cheating, or because I'm confused about that Krishna will promise in Quran, this, if you do this, you will go to paradise. And I remember quite a time we were discussing about personality, goddess, Krishna is a person, and you give me some chapters in Quran, and when I follow it up, it really said that it talk about stool, Ayatul Kursi, and this shows that Krishna is personality, but it's not clear, you know. So I'm beginning to confuse that. Why is it that he don't make a lot of things clear in Quran and Bible, like he make it clear in the Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam?
All right. So yeah, I get your question. Thank you.
Yes, Hare Krishna.
Yeah, thank you. This is the beauty of Krishna. Krishna is the master teacher. So he comes to help each and every soul, and he meets each and every soul halfway where they are at. I've been given this analogy that we are all adults sitting here today, and we all attended school. When we attended school, we were told that IS is pronounced S, right? IS is pronounced S. So anytime you see a word that starts with IS, you're going to start pronouncing S. Like we have ISKCON, ISS, con. No. And so at a different level, I came across the word ISLAND. And I pronounced it Island. And the teacher said, da. It's not Island.
Yeah.
It's island. But at a certain stage in my education, when I pronounced Island, the teacher was okay because the teacher understood that I was following the letters. I was following the alphabets. But as I was growing up, I was again taught that ISL, the S becomes silent. And therefore we will say ISLAND, the S is silent, so it's Ellen. Same thing, it says if you have 2 oranges and you give 4 out of the oranges to another person, how much is left? You say it's not possible, it's impossible. Because you have 2, which is less than 4. How are you going to give 4 out of 2 to give another person? But as we mature, we understand that it is possible. It means that you are owing 2 oranges. So 2 minus 4 is minus 2. Hare Krishna.
Yeah.
So, God, or the Supreme Lord Shri Krishna, gives knowledge about himself according to the maturity of the recipients. For example, in Krishna consciousness, it is said that before one goes on the altar, one has to take shower and clean himself up. Because this system was established in India, which is not a desert. Islam appeared in a place where most of the people were living on a desert. And so instead of taking a full shower before you go on the altar, the Supreme Lord says, do ablution. Use water to wash your face, your ears, all the holes on your body. Wash, keep them clean, wash your feet before you call on Allah. It's the same thing, but Krishna knows that on this desert, it's not so easy to come by water, to take a full shower each time you have to do prayers. And so the Supreme Lord says, do this. And it's also okay for me. The whole idea is that I want you to understand that when you come before me, you have to be clean.
Mm-hmm.
So the concept of being clean before approaching God is there. The way you do it may be different, but the understanding is the same. Like we've been saying this, Christians say Christ is the only way. Muslims say that there is no religion given unto you except Islam. In our Krishna consciousness, we say there is no other way than the lotus feet of our spiritual master that can give us pure love of Godhead and help us go back to Godhead. So it appears that all these three different people, different groups, are all talking that if you do not follow me, you are lost. If you don't follow me, you are lost. But that is not what it is. So Christ is the word of God, is the manifestation of the word of God. And how can anyone try to understand God without the word of God? Islam means submission to Allah. How can anyone try to serve God without submitting himself totally to Allah, to God? And in Krishna consciousness, we say the lotus feet of the spiritual master are the only way by which we can attain pure devotional service. How can one understand the word of God? How can one submit himself to God without the pure devotee of the Lord who is going to explain to him the meaning of the words of God and how one can submit himself to God? So you realize that even though it appears that they are all talking different things, like if you do not follow me, you are lost, but that is not what it is. If we go internally to what the statement means, we realize that we are the same. So when God tells some things to be done or to be followed in the Bible, when people do that, Krishna appreciates. And when Krishna appreciates and Krishna believes that he wants to give them more, then he will give them more. Giving them more may mean that they become more serious in their particular practices, or they will go to wherever they can find something that is much more than what they already have. But it's not contrary to what they were given. So it is said that Krishna consciousness is there for each and every one. Krishna consciousness is not a religion. Anybody can be anywhere and still practice it. If one understands that God is a person, as a form, and we can relate with that form, if one believes that and comes to find out that these are the Krishna people are doing that, then you associate with them and learn how to do it. If one's level is not there to accept that God is a person and it can be related to in a personal way, and that God is a spirit, you cannot see him, you cannot touch him, but you can love him, go ahead and do that, but do it genuinely. But once we become sincere and wants to know more of the Lord will reveal himself. So if a Christian follows the Bible, if a Judaic follows the Torah, if a Muslim follows the Quran, if Hare Krishna devotee follows the Bhagavad Gita, they are all in safe hands. They are all in the hands of Krishna, God. And God will reward them accordingly. God rewarding them accordingly is up to the Lord. We as human beings cannot judge that this person is in the hands of God, but because he's in this community, this is what is going to happen to him. That is with God. He decides. It is not automatic that because I am here studying Bhagavad Gita, studying Srimad Bhagavatam, I'm going back to Godhead. No, because externally, you may see that I'm here reading about Krishna, talking about the pure devotees. You do not know what is going on within my heart and in my mind. I'm probably doing this just to show people that I have this desire to do this. And people will say, oh yes, this person is trying. Chakra tells this story, somebody who was so generous. Everybody admired him in the city. And he died, and there was a prophecy that he was going to hell. And everybody was shocked. How can this person go to hell? He was so pious, he was so kind, he was helping everybody. But the Lord, who knows behind all our secrets, said, okay, I'm going to release a ladder, and I'm going to let this person climb the ladder. Once he hits the cloud, I'll pick him up into heaven. And everybody was happy. Somebody was coming from the farm and he heard so much noise. He asked, what's going on? So there is a ladder descended from heaven. And this person who died has been resurrected that he should climb and go to heaven. So he said, it's going to heaven. I'm also going. He started climbing. And this guy looks down and sees this other person climbing. He comes down and then kicks him down and says, this is only meant for me. In the long run, he was unable to climb. But the lesson is that this guy was doing this kindness just to make himself feel important, make everybody kowtow to him, make everybody bow down to him and serve him, that this person is a very nice person, very good. He was not doing it to serve Krishna. So where our destination is in the hands of Krishna. The most important thing is studying the scriptures under the guidance of a bona fide authority and doing our best to live the scriptures as is taught. The end is in the hands of Krishna. I've talked too much, and I think we should bring this to a close.
Oh, thank you so much, Grace. Thank you very, very much for your wonderful answer.
I hope my long, winding talk helps in a way.
Oh, it has very, very helped. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Yes.
I'm very, very grateful. Hare Krishna.
I'm so grateful to Adwaita Acharya Prabhu. He has lots of wonderful comments in the chat room. Yes, all very beautiful. Yes. Once we start taking things for granted, the magic will be gone. That is our problem. We take things for granted. Things that seems so little and insignificant, but they mean a lot. So with that being said, please, devotees, we're going to handle the request to all to unmute, and we all chant Hare Krishna Maha and try to express our appreciation to their lordships for helping guide us, bring us together to hear the glories of Shri Krishna and his pure devotees and having the association of the devotees die. Hare Krishna,
Hare Krishna,
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna,
Krishna,
Hare
Hare
Krishna, Hare
Hare
Hare,
Rama,
Hare Rama, Hare
Rama
Rama,
Rama,
Hare Hare. Panchakalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya eva cha
Patanam Pavanibhyo
Namaha. Jai.
All Goddess to Prabhupada ki jai.